CS120 Lab 3, Creating and Editing Documents in Microsoft Word, Pause and Practice Activities. We'll begin with Pause and Practice Activity 1-1 located on page W1-12. When you open Word, you'll be starting at what is known as the Backstage view. Here we're going to open a new document, so I'm going to click on Blank Document. And then we're going to go ahead and save this document. There are a couple of ways to save it. I can go to File, Save, or I can click on this button up here on the Quick Access bar, which I'll do here. So I'll click Save, and it's asking me what do I want to name the file. So we'll go ahead here and I'll name this my initials. And then it says as PPW1-1. Now, your screen may look a little different. I'm connected to Microsoft Office Online with my version of Office, so I can save it there. But instead, I want to save this on a local drive, so I'm going to click here where it says Location, go to More Locations, then I have to click Browse, so it's quite a few steps here. Here, I'm going to go ahead and go to Documents, to my data files, go into Word, and I'm going to go into Word Chapter 1, and this is where I'll save this document. In this next section, we're going to talk about some ways that Word can do some automatic actions for you. The first one is an autocorrect action. So what will happen is if you type something incorrectly, it will autocorrect it for you. So to set this up, we'll go to the File menu, we'll go to the Options menu, and then we're going to click on Proofing. So our autocorrect options are here, so I'll click here. So there's numerous different types of things that Word can auto-complete for you. One is auto-formatting, one is some math, one is auto-formatting as you type, but we're going to be doing autocorrect. So in this case, go to the Replace field, and we're going to type the word Cavalli, C-A-V-A-L-I, but we actually want it to be Cavalli with 2 L's. So we'll complete that, click Add, and this will add it to a list here. If you notice, if I scroll through this list, there's numerous different ones that it can autocorrect. Some of the ones that I've used in the past is with the word the, I'll spell it incorrectly, T-E-H. See if I can find that here in the list. So there it is. If I type T-E-H, it'll actually replace that with T-H-E for me automatically. Okay, now that we're done here, I'll click this to close this. And although this isn't shown in the book, I did want to take a moment here to show you that if I do type T-E-H and I press the space bar, you'll notice it autocorrects that to the. This can be a very useful feature, especially for those of us who sometimes type things incorrectly. We're now going to do an autocomplete entry. So I'm just going to go ahead and erase what I placed here before. So I'm going to start typing a date. In this case, I'm going to start typing Janu. I can spell it right, January. And you notice it pops up and it says the word January, and to press Enter if I want to insert this. But this isn't exactly what I want. I actually want today's date, so I'll go January, then press the space, and there it gave us the date. So if I press the Enter key, it will put that date in for us. Now, one thing I had done here, which is in the book, but I skipped, is I turned on this feature. It's under the Home tab, Paragraph Group. It's called Show and Hide Formatting Marks. Now, what this does is it shows us some hidden items. If I turn it off here, you notice that it doesn't show up here, and it won't show up when printed. These are marks that tell us what's going on behind the scenes. So in this case, this symbol here is a paragraph marker. I'm going to actually zoom in a little bit here in Word to make this a little easier for everybody to see. And I did this by holding the Control key down on the keyboard and scrolling the mouse pointer, the center mouse wheel. So we'll continue here by entering some more information into the document. So I'm going to press the Enter key a couple of times here, and then I'm going to start typing the inside address. So I have the, to begin with, now I can press the Enter key here, and this will create a paragraph, which I'll do. Or I'm going to press the back button. I can press the Shift and press the Enter key. And this will create a different symbol. This is known as a line break. And you'll notice it doesn't move as far down as it did up here. So it's not really creating a paragraph. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to enter the rest of this information, and I'll just put the video on pause. We're going to next enter the body of the document. So I'll go ahead and I'll press the Enter key here. Now, a couple of things that we're going to be learning here is, one, it's about the way that Word handles sentences when they go beyond a certain length. The first one is if we make a sentence that's too long for the width of the document, it will just auto move the lines down to the next sentence down to the next line of the document. In the old days, when you used typewriters, you actually had to press the Enter key to get back to the beginning of the next line, but you don't need to do that in Word. Another feature here is called a non-breaking space, and what this is going to do, it's going to ensure that we do not break words onto different lines of the document that we don't want them broken onto. I'm going to start by showing the word wrapping feature. So in a moment, we're going to get a word wrap here. Now you noticed that that moved itself down to the next line. Now I did type some things incorrectly here, but that is the nature of who I am. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pause this and enter the rest of this paragraph. Okay, with the body completed, we can go ahead here and talk about this thing called the non-breaking space. So the document talks about putting one between the words real and estate here. Now, if I don't do this, what will happen if I were to add a new word here? Let's just say I added a new word, and notice that estate moves to the next line. So let me go ahead and take that off. So what I'm going to do here instead of having that normal space, I'll do what's called a non-breaking space by pressing the Control, Shift, and Space key. And that puts a slightly different symbol here. Now if I go ahead and I add something here, notice that it moves that entire set of words down to the next line. So there are times that you're going to want to have this feature in your documents. I'm now going to finish up the document. Okay, so I finished the document. Last thing I want to show you is this feature here. The initials typed here should be in lowercase, but when I pressed the non-breaking space here, it increased this to a capital. So underneath that R, you'll notice there's these two blue lines. If I hover over that, get this to work here, and I come down, there's this option that'll pop up called autocorrect options. If I click here, I can tell it to undo what it's done as its automatic feature. So I'll just say undo automatic capitalization, and then that will fix that for us. Okay, that completes our first pause and practice activity. Okay, moving on to pause and practice activity 1-2. And we're going to be doing some formatting here with the document. So we're going to be continuing on using the document we created earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save this, and I'm going to click on the Save button on the Quick Access toolbar. And we also want to save a copy of this, so I'm going to go over to the File tab, and I'm going to click the Save As button. I'm going to browse, go back to the area that we were at earlier, and I'm going to call this one W1-2. So we'll be working on a new document. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to copy some information from another Word document and place it in this. So over here, I'm going to open this document called Disclosure Statement -01. Just double click and open it here. And we need to copy this entire paragraph here. There are a couple of ways we can do this. Is I can put the cursor in the upper left, hold the mouse button down and highlight down. I can press the Control A button, which is what I'll do here to copy it. And then I'm going to press the Control C to copy this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close this document now. Now we have this in what's known as the clipboard right now. And if I were to place the insertion point somewhere and press Control V, which is to copy this, or excuse me, to paste this, I could do that. Or I can use a clipboard feature here in Word. You'll notice under the Home tab, Clipboard Group, there's this pop-out. So I'll pop this out here and you'll notice here is that information that I just put in the clipboard. I can have more than one item here in a row, so if you have got multiple things that you need to paste into and out of a document, you can use this feature. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to click here in front of Best Regards, come over to the item I want to paste, and then choose Paste from this list. Okay, although it looks funny, we'll get back to that and we'll fix that here in just a moment. So one problem with this paragraph of information is it's got a different look about it, and that's due to the font. I've highlighted this, or placed this paragraph here, and it's in Times New Roman, where the rest of our document is in Calibre. So what we need to do is take this formatting here and place it on here. I could select this and create the formatting that is up here on it, but an easier way is just to take the formatting from someplace we already have it and place it on this. So in this case, I've placed the cursor inside this paragraph. This is where I want to take some formatting from. I then go up to the clipboard area. I click the Format Painter. So I want to format this area right here, so I will click, highlight, and then let go. And you'll notice now that we have added the font that was here. There's also some other formatting features that were added here behind the scenes as well. Next, we're going to show you how to copy some information out of the document using a slightly different technique. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight this word disclosure here. So I just double clicked on it. I'm going to hold the Control key down and then hold on that word and then start to drag it. And you'll notice that the cursor now has a little plus indicator next to it. So I'm going to bring this down to where I want this at, which is next to the in between enclosed and statement in the last paragraph. Let the mouse button go, and you'll notice that it copied that from here to there. We're going to next move a paragraph, in this case the third paragraph in this document. So to do this, we have to select this. I can select it by click, drag, or slightly easier way is just to triple click on that paragraph. So let me do that again, and that will select the entire thing. We're going to then click the Cut button, which is up here, which can be a Control X button instead. And then we're going to go to the beginning of the second body paragraph, which is here where it says if, and then I will click the Paste button, and that will have moved this paragraph from the bottom up to near the top. We're next going to fix this problem here where it says date. This is something we're going to insert. So we're going to go ahead and put this in as 1 week from today. So this will be January. And a week from today is the 23rd, 2022. Next, we're going to change the color of this. So we'll highlight that date. We're going to come up to the font area here, and we're going to change that to yellow. Actually, that is so bad, I'm not going to change it to yellow. I'm going to change it to orange so I can actually see it. Okay. Next, we're going to change the size of all of the text in the document, and we're going to do this by changing the font size. So first, we want to select all of the text in the document. The easiest way to do this is just to press the Control and then the A key. So everything's selected. We'll come up here and we're going to change this to just one level up. We'll change it to 12. We're going to next do some changing here. We're going to change the case and spacing of some text. So it says to select the word subject. Now I just double clicked on that in order to do this. I'm going to choose the change case option, which is here on the font group. So click here and I'll change this to uppercase. Okay, we're going to next make some spacing changes, and we'll do this to the entire subject line here. So I've selected that. Go to the font group and we'll click the dialog launcher. Make sure the advanced tab is selected. Then under spacing, we're going to choose expanded. And we're going to expand this by 1.5 points there. And we'll click the OK button. And you'll notice that it expanded the spacing between each of the letters. And lastly here, we're going to apply some font styles. So let's go down to near the bottom of the document to where the email address is here. So I'm going to highlight that. And we're going to give this a color of blue. So I'm going to click here and it says to go to the 9th color blue, which is one of these. Let's see, what is it? Dark blue. I'll just choose that one. It's not that important. Then want to do an underline. I could come up here, press the underline button here, but you also notice it says I could press the Control U to do an underline as well. So that is completed. Now it wants us to select the name here, and we're going to go to the font launcher, which is this here again, and we're going to go to the font tab, and we're going to choose small caps, which is this here. So I click that. Oh, let me cancel here because it didn't select the whole thing. Come back here again to the font launcher, choose small caps. You notice it doesn't make the change here yet. It will show it here though for us, because this isn't an exact preview when you have a dialog box open. Alright, so we're going to click OK here to close this. Now that change will be shown. And then we're going to click the title of the realtor here and press the bold button. Or if I hover over it, you notice I could press Control B as well. Alright, so let's go ahead and we're going to save this. And that completes Pause and Practice 1-2. Now we're moving on to our last Pause and Practice activity, Activity 1-3. We're going to be using the same document again. So I'll go ahead and I am going to save this again in the same location, but I'm going to call this W1-3. Okay, there we go. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do some changes to some line spacing. That's the first item. So I'm going to press the Control A again to highlight the entire document. I'm going to go up to the Home tab, and in the paragraph group I'll click the launcher here to open this. We're going to go ahead and we're going to change the line spacing to single. So under the Indent and Spacing tab, under Spacing, the line spacing is here, so I'll change that to single. And then we're going to change another option called the After Spacing to 12 points. So this means after a space, we'll add 12 points of space. So I'll click OK here. That made some slight adjustments to the document. Okay, moving to the top of the document, we're going to add some space up here above. So I'm going to click in this paragraph here, in this line here where the date is, and I'm going to add some spacing. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the Layout tab in this case. And we're going to change the before spacing here to 72. So 72 is approximately 1 inch. So when I've done this, you'll notice it moved the entire document down about 1 inch from the top. So we're going to change some alignment now. So let's go to the subject line. So here on this line here, we're going to change where this sits within the document. Currently is snugged up against the left side of the document. We'd like this in the center instead. So I'll go back to the Home tab. And under the paragraph group, there is an option here to center this. Now we'll go ahead and we're going to use the thesaurus. So I'm going to scroll down on our document a little. And we're going to look at the word reveal here. So I'll double click on this. We're going to then open the thesaurus. We're going to do this under the review proofing group, clicking on thesaurus. And this will give us a list of words that we can choose from instead of the word reveal. We're going to choose the word divulge here. And next to that is a drop-down arrow. And I'll click the insert button here. And this will replace that word here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close the thesaurus pane. Another way to use the thesaurus is to choose a word, in this case residence, and I'm going to right click on it. And there will be some options here. Oh, jumped all over the place on me. There'll be some options here under synonyms, and I'm going to use the word home instead. Now there's going to be times when you have certain words that you use a lot and they will not show up in the custom dictionary. So we're going to go ahead and show you how to do this. So we're going to go and add a word. We'll go back to the Backstage view, go to Options, to Proofing, and then we're going to click on Custom Dictionaries here. So we're going to make sure the roaming custom dictionary or the custom dictionary is selected. And here we'll click and add. Oh, excuse me, I clicked the wrong thing. I'm one step ahead of myself. I wanted to click edit the word list here. And typically I would type my name Morgan and then add, but my name is already there, so I'm not going to put that word in here. Instead, let's just put the word, let's say Odell. And I'll click add. Now, when I am doing a a spelling check, it will check and see, this is a normally spelled word. It won't bother me about it. Just going to cancel out of this, move all the way back. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do some some spell checking on the document. So let's go to this line here where we have some misspelled items. Here we got this thing called Whole House. So a quick and easy way to do a spell check is to right click on it. And this will give you some ideas of, hey, wait a minute, this is definitely either one of these others as far as I'm concerned. In this case, it's Whole House, so I'll click on here and it will change that for me. You will notice one thing here is that when it's finding certain errors, it'll put a red line under it. In this case, it's thinking these are misspelled words. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we want to spell check the rest of the document. So we'll once again be under the Review tab. And we're going to go over to the Editor option. The option you see up here may be Spelling and Grammar, and it may look just a little different from this, but the idea is the same. So in this case, where I have Editor, it has an option under here called, or a section under here called Corrections, and one of those is Spelling. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on this, and it will bring up some options for me. It highlights it over here. And I have to choose the appropriate item here, so I'm going to choose truss in this particular case. Let's see, granite, I will choose granite. And then we have This, we're going to ignore this particular one. And it looks like outside of this, I actually made a mistake here. So I'm going to change that to miss. We're next going to do what's known as a smart lookup within this. So we have this item called transfer disclosure statement. Let's say we want to know a little bit more information about this. We would go to the References tab and click the search button. And this is going to go out and find some information on the internet that it thinks we may find useful in this particular case. So we're next going to go ahead and close this. We're going to add some properties to our document. Do that by going to the File tab. I'm going to go to the Info section, and those properties are over here. So the first property we're going to add is a title to this. We're going to call this the Disclosure Statement. We're going to go down to the author. So I'll right click on this and I'm going to remove myself. And then I'm going to click in the Add an Author and I'm going to type Emma, C-A-V-A-L-L-I. Press the Enter key. And then we're going to go to the bottom where it says Show All Properties. And we're going to go to the Summary tab. Where, oh where are you going to be? Actually, it's the company I want to go to here, so I'm going to type in there, Placer Hills Real Estate. The next thing, we're going to go up to the top of the list under Properties, go to the drop down and do even more advanced properties. And here in the subject area, we're going to type Real Estate. Press the OK key. Now the next section talks about a feature called Read Aloud. I am going to skip that for this pause and practice activity. And I'm going to skip the Learning Tools section of this as well. So that completes the pause and practice activities.